Car wash.
Skinny Hardaway 17. Back with another EP. Y'all do your boy favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy. When you roll on it. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, if y'all could do your boy solid, smash that like button for your boy when you roll on it. Not bad, y'all. Not bad, y'all. I ain't did not one lie today, but I'm finna go and get y'all a quick jump. I'm gonna hit y'all with this fight breakdown and prediction between Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin. If Jermaine Franklin was good, MP. If Jermaine Franklin name, ain't really ringing a bell. He's not an overly known fighter. Jermaine Franklin is he's from Detroit, Michigan, or Grand Rapids, Michigan. One of those, not a fighter who's had a whole lot of, big fight opportunity, but he getting his big fight opportunity this weekend when he stepped into the ring with Anthony Joshua. Jermaine Franklin, he got here by losing to Dylan White, right? But if you actually saw the fight, everybody who saw that fight, I believe, knows that Jermaine Franklin won that fight. Dylan White got a gift decision versus Jermaine Franklin in his last fight, which is how he ended up fighting Anthony Joshua, right? Because Jermaine Franklin lost his last fight. In what case do fighters lose fights, right? And then they get huge title shots. He got this huge title shot because effectively he lost on the cards. But if I challenge you to go watch Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin, and you'll see that true enough, Jermaine Franklin won that fight versus Dylan White. No one's really surprised because it's Dylan White, right? If anything, it's more funny than anything because we all know Dylan White, just isn't that good. It's funny to rag on Dylan White, and it's funny to rag on Dylan White for a good reason. What's good, MP? What the fuck? Shout out my guy Boxing MMA. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through. If y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy. Uh, when y'all roll on in, we can help keep the likes with the views. My bad, y'all. If y'all ain't checked out my Dog Bay versus Robisa Ramirez breakdown and prediction, y'all check that out. My Dog Bay, Isak Dog Bay versus Robisa Ramirez prediction. They fight Saturday as well. This is the big fight, the heavyweight fight this weekend between Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, 24 wins, 3 losses, 22 KOs. Been stopped once himself. Fizzle, what's good, Fizzle? Appreciate you sliding through. Anthony Joshua, 33 years old. He's 6'6" in height with an 82-inch arm reach. He's facing off with Jermaine Franklin, who I just gave you y'all the bump over the background on right. What's good, Josh Sanders? Appreciate you sliding through. If y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy when you roll on in. Jermaine Franklin is 29 years old, 6'2", with a 77-inch arm reach. So Anthony Joshua has 4 inches in height, and Anthony Joshua has 5 inches in arm reach on Jermaine Franklin. So Anthony Joshua would be the bigger fighter, you know what I mean, in this particular fight with Jermaine Franklin. In this fight, you got AJ versus Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin isn't necessarily a guy who's seen as the hardest puncher or a KO puncher or a knockout puncher. Jermaine Franklin is the guy who displayed against Dylan White that he's more so of a counter puncher, right? More so of a volume puncher, more so of a counter puncher. He was able to catch Dylan White, in between Dylan White's shot. He was able to catch Dylan White a lot more often, than one would have imagined going into that fight. Jermaine Franklin displayed a good jab versus Dylan White. It's almost like Dylan White couldn't get out of the way. What's good, Jazz? Appreciate you sliding through. It's almost like Dylan White could never get out of the way of Jermaine Franklin's jab. Jermaine Franklin was able to put the jab in Dylan White's face all night, and he he walked himself into what I thought would be a win. Jermaine Franklin Hold on, let me bring this camera up so we can put names with faces. Appreciate y'all sliding through. If y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy. There we go. Jermaine Franklin. Notable names. Again, his last fight was against Dylan White, which is the fight I was talking about. He was able to pretty much control Dylan White, you know what I mean, with his jab. Now, Dylan White, right? We hard on Dylan White. Dylan White isn't the greatest of boxers, but Dylan White is an Olympian medal boxer, right? And Jermaine Franklin was able to control Dylan White with his jab. We like to rag on Dylan White. What's good, D-Man? We like to rag on Dylan White. But Dylan White's strong suit is that he's he's a boxer, right? That is his strong suit. He was actually outboxing AJ right before AJ knocked him out. He looked terrible against Tyson Fury. Like as a White, I think he's washed over the hill. You know what I mean? For the most part, I think this fight with Jermaine Franklin, he really lost. What's good, PJ's Big Dog? That he really lost this fight with Jermaine Franklin against Jermaine Franklin did Dylan White, but to preserve his career, you give him that win over Jermaine Franklin. You set AJ up with Jermaine Franklin, and then you let AJ fight Dylan White again in the UK, which is exactly what Eddie Hearn is going to do, right? Which would be the only way Franklin gets this fight, after a loss. But I digress. But you could see Dylan White, Rodney Moore, Pavel Sauer, Jerry Forrest, right? Jerry Forrest is a guy that you know. So Dylan White, Jerry Forrest, you got Rydell Booker in there as well. Tyrell Wright, just to name a few guys. Nobody overly amazing on the record of Jermaine Franklin. His highest profile fight would be Dylan White. That will be his best opponent in comparisons to Anthony Joshua White, who's pretty much fought everybody in the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua has fought everybody in the heavyweight division outside of Fury, Wilder, and Anthony Joshua. I mean, Joe Joyce. So, you know what I mean? But one got to go down Anthony Joshua resume, Alexander Usyk, Kubrat Pulev, Andy Reid, Povetkin, Field, right? But Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin, I expect it to be a interesting fight, right? With the stipulations that we got going on in each fight. You got Anthony Joshua. This is going to be his first fight with Derrick James. Anthony Joshua, his last fight was with Angel Garcia. Was with Angel Garcia, the brother of Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia's trainer. He switched trainers after the Alexander Usyk fights. He said because he felt like he needed to add something to his game. He said he felt like with Angel Garcia, he said after the fight he felt like that they left a lot in the gym. He felt like he maybe had overtrained, maybe going into that fight. So this is going to be his first fight with Derrick James. So that's a factor, you know what I mean, to be looking out for. How exactly does Anthony Joshua, look with Derrick James? Also, how does Anthony Joshua react to losing twice in a row for the first time in his career? Anthony Joshua isn't an undefeated fighter. What's good, Royalty? Appreciate you sliding through. Anthony Joshua isn't an undefeated fighter, but he's never lost two fights in a row. This will be his first time. Okay. This will be his first time losing two fights in a row. So mentally, right, which is what most people feel like AJ's problem. I don't feel like the thing with AJ is anything physical, right? AJ is a physical specimen. What's good, Josh Gibson? Edgar Chavez. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Josh. Jay, my bad, Jay. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Jay. What's good, my blood cuz? TWT in the building. My guy, Edgar Chavez. What's good, Edgar Chavez? Appreciate you sliding through. I don't think any of Anthony Joshua's problems are physical problems. YouTube. The thing with Anthony Joshua, I feel like it's always been his mental, right? His thing with Andrew Ruiz, he went in there with Andrew Ruiz first time. He beat him. A lot of people feel like that Anthony Joshua quit against Andy Ruiz that first time when he took a knee. We were interested to see how he responded to Andy Ruiz when he came back. Now, YouTube. Now, while he did come back and he earned that victory against Andy Ruiz, right? Some people question the victory, not that he won or lost, because I feel like he won, pretty clearly. But some people question the victory because we feel like Andy Ruiz beat himself. He ate himself out his championship, and Anthony Joshua was real timid about, engaging with Andy Ruiz. And to have a guy like AJ, right, who's been, pretty much a knockout artist, who's been a seek and destroy type of fighter, come back after his first loss. He avenged his first loss, but to come back after his first loss and pretty much change his whole style to go from a punisher to a boxer, people question his style in the future, rather he will be able to continue that kind of fighting style, right? And then he fought Alexander Usyk, and the same game plan that he used against Andrew Ruiz in the second fight, it looks like that's the same game plan that he used against Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua in their first fight, right? Quickly found out that that game plan when and my bad. Anthony Joshua quickly found out, right, in those fights with Alexander Usyk that back foot boxer game plan would not work with Alexander Usyk. So he switched trainers. He ended up losing to Alexander Usyk, right? So he switched trainers. This one he switched to Angel Garcia. In the second fight with Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua did do uh much better. Surprisingly, right? He still kind of boxed Alexander Usyk. He just went about it, in a more methodical way, in that second fight than he did in the first fight. A way where he was able to kind of preserve his energy early to have more energy on the back end. And he almost actually stopped Alexander Usyk in that second fight, right? I saw a lot of growth from Anthony Joshua in fight one to fight two with Alexander Usyk. A lot of people felt like that Alexander Usyk would stop Anthony Joshua maybe that second time. I personally felt like Anthony Joshua made some serious strides from fight one to fight two. I think in that fight he actually had a chance to beat Alexander Usyk. He almost stopped Alexander Usyk. I think it might have been like the seventh or eighth round. But in trying to stop Alexander Usyk, I think he shot his load and he couldn't quite finish the fight off. That 11 and 12 round, I think, were big for Anthony Joshua. He ended up losing that fight by split decision. I think the 11 and 12 round were big for him because in the 10th round he almost had Alexander Usyk out of there, and he couldn't get him. And I think that's what made him gas out. But he did carry his stamina well throughout that fight from round one to round 10. Did AJ? So I did see improvement. You know what I mean? In AJ's game from fight one to fight two. In fight one, he pretty much got dominated against Alexander Usyk. In fight two, I really feel like he almost won that fight with Alexander Usyk. He made a choice or two that may have caused them to fight. With that being said, I saw Jermaine Franklin impress me against Dylan White. Now, Dylan White isn't the level of boxer that Alexander Usyk is, right? But he did impress me against Dylan White. That's a fight where I picked Dylan White to win. Y'all know I'm a gambling man, right? So I had Dylan White to win on my parlay. Dylan White ended up winning, but I watched that fight, and anybody with eyes could see that Jermaine Franklin won that fight, right? Jermaine Franklin in that fight showed me that he can box. He showed me that he can box. He's a better boxer, right? When I talk about boxer, I mean pure boxer. He's a better pure boxer than Dylan White because he was pretty much able to hit Dylan White and not get hit. He was able to hit Dylan White, and Dylan White really wasn't able to be successful in hitting him. Even when Dylan White, tried to turn up, the gas. Even when Dylan White tried to turn up the gas on Jermaine Franklin was still able to maintain control uh, of that fight. While Alexander Usyk much higher than I would grade Dylan White, right? And I just saw Anthony Joshua go 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk. The first 12 Alexander Usyk, I think, dominated. But that second fight, I saw Anthony Joshua actually, not outbox Alexander Usyk, right, but be able to compete with Alexander Usyk over the course of a 12-round fight. I saw him compete with Alexander Usyk in the first, 12-round fight as well. So I think those 24 rounds in the bag with Alexander Usyk has helped prepare AJ. I think AJ improved greatly from the first loss to the second loss, and I think those 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk is going to do him some good versus Jermaine. And Anthony Joshua. I got Anthony Joshua with a late TKO stoppage over Jermaine Franklin. Namesake wise, right? Namesake wise, right? Jermaine Franklin isn't a huge name, but I challenge everybody to go watch. Jermaine Franklin versus Dylan White, and you guys could pretty much see him, dominate Dylan White, which is how he got here. Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn had been, Eddie Hearn had been, he had been pushing towards, right, since the beginning of the year. Anthony Joshua versus Dylan White. He said he wanted to give Dylan White a warm-up fight, right, an opening fight, and then he would take on Anthony Joshua. Well, White lost that fight. Fact, Edgar Sosa. I said Edgar Sosa. Edgar Chavez. Is anyone fighting Usyk must consistently attack his body with bad intentions. Fact. Facts. So, but I challenge anybody to watch that fight with Dylan White and Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin, he won that fight pretty easy. You know what I mean? Which is how he ended up here. Type deal. But I don't think that win over Dylan White is going to prepare him, for the things that he needs to be able to beat Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua is going to be a much, better fighter going forward, because about Anthony Joshua, he does improve, you know what I mean, over rematch. He does improve after his losses, right? He fought Andrew Reese, he lost, he improved. He fought Alexander Usyk, he lost, he improved. Now he ended up losing to Alexander Usyk again, but he did do much better that second fight. So I think now with Derrick James, is only going to get Anthony Joshua even more stoppage over Jermaine Franklin this Saturday. But I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. Was good, quick. Appreciate you sliding through. I'm finna come back with a longer EP in just a second, about 1:30. Gotta get up, get my life together. But Anthony Joshua TKO stoppage. We could go Anthony Joshua TKO stoppage, 8 rounds. Anthony Joshua TKO stoppage, round 8. That's all I got, man. Skin Hardaway, Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Love.